Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am good. Time for class. It'd be pretty late there. I just think that's where she gets into working and then taking care of the daughter after. And I did like when I woke up, all of my comments were blue to her, which means she read them. And then, like, I look, so this morning I read them, they're blue. And then all day today, they're still green. And it always confuses me, like, does she not have time to read them? But again, I don't know what's going on in her mind, and I can only be stoic. So that's her. Jenna's still a little sick, but okay. And that's about it. Haven't heard from Melissa. She's got her own little troubles. And lucky gold is 21.32, up 17 more. Silver's at 23.69. Now, not up. It's down 26 cents. But gold's what's really running. So gold was like 2000, 2030, 2050, 2080, 21. And then what I like is it's keeping the momentum, right? It's 21.32, up 17. And when we look at the 10 o'clock, there really wasn't much of a 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, it went down a little and then bounced back and then went down a little and then bounced up at, let's see, it bounced down at 10 and then noon it stabilized and now it's up from that. It had got to 21.37. And I noticed that Bitcoin was down a couple thousand and the stock market was down a couple thousand. So let's see what Bitcoin's at here. It gives us a crypto Bitcoin price, which is 62,144. I had thought I saw it at 65. It is down 7% today. So it had gotten up to 68 and now back to 61. The COMEX is starting to take over. Bitcoin's down 7% today, but gold's up. So that kind of takes. See who this is. Hello?
Hi, Howard. This is Sharon calling on behalf of New Bath today on a recorded line. How are you doing?
Yeah, I have to call you back. New Bath or new what? I don't even know what that was. I don't like is that they know it's me, right? Hi, Howard. Bothers me. Anyway, so gold's up $17. So you contrarians, gold's up 17, Bitcoin's down 7,000. So they do not run the same. The COMEX starting to bother them, we'll see. And here we're at 21.32. Silver still was 22s up to 23.70. So at that standpoint, that's a good sign. Now in the title, I sit there and I talk about insurance, gold insurance. What the fuck? And I didn't like the guy talking that. Well, gold's like insurance. If my house burns down, I get the insurance. And he was like, I don't want to use gold. If gold goes to 5,000, that means my house burnt down. I don't understand that analogy at all. I don't know what the fuck's the guy's talking about and how it relates. Gold is not insurance, right? So the closest I can come is car insurance, right? If my car gets in an accident, I call the insurance company and they fix the car. How is gold insurance to what? Money insurance? So if my money goes to zero, gold goes up. I mean, the money going to zero has got nothing to do. You don't have insurance for it. Gold's not insurance for it. Gold, very simply, is an asset. So the closest I can come is our Mahomes card. So if the dollar goes out, Mahomes card goes to zero because it's priced in dollars. Gold is insurance for the dollar. Is this what this idiot's trying to say? Gold is insurance for the dollar. So if the dollar collapses, gold goes up. No. Gold's an asset based on demand. More demand for gold, the higher the price. If the dollar goes down, is irrelevant. And I know Alligator says it's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down. That's a bunch of bullshit. It's got nothing to do, one has nothing to do with the other. If the dollar goes down, does this go up? No. Does this go up because it's Mahomes and it's bidded up? Because a lot of people want to get this 50 count card? Yeah. So how is gold insurance? I'm not buying gold because the dollar's going up. I'm buying gold because it's an asset. Now, I know the dollar's going out, so I am buying gold, but because it's the only place to go. So if the dollar goes out, the ruble goes out, and the euro goes out, and the Swiss franc goes out, and the British pound goes out, and the African and Asian currencies go out, the only place to go is gold. The only reason I'm in gold is because that would make the demand go up because gold's money. And maybe what he's saying is, well, if the dollar goes out, I'll have gold, but I really don't want gold to go up because that means the dollar goes out. And what happens? Oh, you're a fucking idiot. What happens is things get priced in gold. That's why BRICS is coming out with a gold standard. That's why we had a gold standard. That's why the Romans had a gold standard. This dollar should go out, and you should be very happy about it, not sad. You don't understand it's a medium of exchange, and you don't understand that what we have now is worthless paper. It's not worth anything. So you should want to get to gold, but he doesn't understand it. It's not insurance theoretically. It's an asset like a Rolex. The insurance part may be that if the dollar does go out, you're assuming gold is not held down by COMEX, which it won't be, and it'll go up. So your thinking is if the dollar goes out, that's bad. Why are you thinking that? You're clueless, aren't you? If the dollar goes out, that's good. All we'll do is switch to a gold-backed currency. That'll do it. And if it's not ours, it'll be BRICS. When the dollar goes out, the dollar can't keep going like this. It's totally inflated to zero. There is no value in the dollar. So you are very clueless, whoever you are with the cartoon face, that you think you understand it. And yes, Alligator, when the dollar, it's not the dollar, it's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down, is not correct. Gold is not attached to the dollar price. That's your problem. COMEX is blocking the real COMEX price. So if COMEX has now gone to Bitcoin, then what you're going to see is a real physical price, easily $15,000, $20,000. That now is the real price of gold. Has nothing to do. The dollar's already gone down. So it's a big lag of when the dollar dropped to the gold going up. So this is where I'm like very confused by that. Gold's insurance. Gold's not insurance. Gold's money. That's what we should be using. So because some criminals use dollars so they can print, doesn't mean it's bad for it to drop, but gold's not insurance. So if Rolexes go up, is that bad too? Or is my Mahomes card or Mickey Mantle card? These are going to zero because they're priced in dollars. You don't understand that. Bitcoin's going to zero because it's priced in dollars. So I ask you very simply, what is, what is the value of this? Well, right now it's worth $5,000. Then it'll go to some gold value, maybe a quarter ounce, a half ounce of gold. Will buy you the Mahomes card. But that's the switch that'll take place. We're going to switch from this being valued in dollars, your house, your car, all the food, utilities, anything, clothes, anything that's in the marketplace will have to have a new medium of exchange. So I don't know if they'll just take a percentage and say, okay, everything's now worth 1/10. All right, so $100,000 house is worth 10,000, and that'll be 1 ounce of gold. I mean, that's kind of what they'll probably just take a whole thing and then let the market dictate what the real prices are. But we're seeing gold go up. We're seeing Bitcoin go down. We never know the value of the dollar. We only know it against another dollar, which is totally doesn't tell us anything about the value of our dollar. And that's what's happening. So we're seeing gold 21.30 on its way to 22, on its way to 25. I think when we hit 25, probably by the end of the week, I think it goes to 35. I think people are seeing it, but they don't get it yet. But when it starts getting into the 23s, 24s, and people start realizing gold's going up, this is not the dollar going down. This is gold going up. The dollar's done. So the dollar's worthless now, but gold's going up because it's getting to its free fair market price. It has nothing to do with it. It's not insuring the dollar. Oh, so if the dollar goes out, gold will insure it. No, only an idiot thinks like that. The real people think it's another asset like a Rolex or a Mantle card or a Mahomes card. So if the Mahomes card goes up, it's got nothing to do with dollar. It's got to do with the market demand. And that's what we want, is the market demand for everything. And that's not what we have. We don't have a free market demand on gold. And that's what we're hoping for. That's what I think we're getting. It'll be nice if we get it. So let's see. So we're seeing gold go up. We're seeing silver go. Silver went from 22 to 23. It hit 24 today, and then it fell back to 23.70 for some reason. Probably a little more sticky on the silver because people still need it to make products as opposed to money, where gold really is money. So people, as all the people start realizing their dollars are worthless, they're going to jump to gold before they jump to silver. All right, so gold's going to go 25, 3,000, 5,000. Silver won't yet until gold gets so high that people, silver's money too? Yeah, only gold and silver, not platinum, not palladium, not any other metal. Gold and silver are the only money, period. So once people realize this is done, and we already know it's done, and you're getting off the Titanic, and there's your gold boat, and now it's starting to leave the dock, which I'm very excited about. I don't really see the problem that everybody's seeing, but why would I? I'm the only one that understands what the fuck's going on, not these idiots. So I see that you just price things in gold. It's not a big deal. It's a medium of exchange. So the dollar goes out, gold now is the price. And if it's not our gold, it'll be brics gold. So brics will come out with their gold back system, boom. Now the dollar will still be around for a little bit, but nobody wants it. So it'll be like Venezuela, they still have their dollar, or it'll be like Zimbabwe, they still have their dollar, even though they're inflated to shit. But they won't buy anything. So that's where you'll need the gold and silver. So again, I don't get the insurance reference. I think it's a stupid reference and a stupid comment. Whoever said it, the cartoon guy needs to shut the fuck up. And if he's going to be on YouTube, you should be trying to teach people, not trying to confuse them and not trying to sound like an idiot. I was watching this YouTube on some guy. CIA spy, leave the U.S. before 2030 and why you shouldn't trust your gut. So this is a CIA agent. Doesn't sound too intelligent. Very good, John. He makes some comments. So he starts talking about spotting liars and CIA training and stuff like that. And really what he said, so let's do liars because we play poker. And there's really no way to spot a liar. It's not the eyes, it's not the expressions or this, especially in poker where they can do it on purpose. What he said about spotting liars is it's a different behavior than what you're used to. So if a guy talks like this all the time and all of a sudden he gets all nervous and that, supposedly he's acting differently because he's lying. I don't know if that's true or not, especially in poker where I do it all the time and I'm not lying. And I'm doing reverse tells where I'm acting nervous, but I'm not. And I have a full house, but I'm acting like I don't to get somebody to call me. And I've done that before where I know you're looking at me. I give you a fake tell. So I fake lied to you. But the idea is we all have a personality. And when we do something different than our personality, we're probably lying. I don't know. Then he talks about how to get close to somebody because he's a CIA agent. So he needs to get people to, tell secrets and stuff like that. So he says, oh, you mirror the person. Like, how do I gain trust? Well, you gain trust by mirroring the person. Well, you gain trust by asking questions. And he keeps answering questions, then he feels closer to you. And then he said there's 3 personalities, which we've talked about before. There's public, there's private, and then there's secret. So public's kind of what I do, but I kind of do private here. So I do not what I want you to see, but I want you to learn. And I'll teach you football and I teach you gold. And then I'll tell you about Daria and Jenna, Alyssa, people at the pool. I'll bring in personal stuff. So it's more of a personal things. Secrets don't really have too many that aren't personal, but I probably have a few, which the girls, Jenna and Daria, know about. Do I know about their secrets? I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not Jenna's. Daria, maybe. But so that's what you're trying to get to is the secret person, right? So everybody, we like football. And then you got, I like Chinese food. Now I like General Chow. That's more private because you're getting into my personality. And then there's the secret, which we don't talk to. It was interesting, the CIA agent. So he says it's sort of like this hustle show where it's con men and they're looking for a mark and then they get their confidence in the mark and then they can sell them stuff. And that's kind of what he's doing. He's looking for somebody that he can get information out of. Then he becomes buddies with them. and then they'll start telling them these secret information to do it. Now, I guarantee it would not work against me. But I'm smarter than the average bear. But it's about 2 hours long. And if I show you, so I mean, this is like every 2 minutes. So there's all these, applying real spy skills to become, how to manipulate people, the psychology. I held key nuclear missiles. It was a horrible job. And on and on and on. The interview process, I didn't really care about that. How expensive. I mean, I didn't care a lot about CIA stuff. How you teach the art of lying, basically. So it's like every minute he's talking about something. So, I saw it. I'm always interested in catching liars because I played poker. But really, you can't. It's the only way you catch a liar is you have to see them, and it's like football, right? You can't use New England's trends since Brady's gone, so now you have Mac Jones trends. But you got to get enough data points to see what they're like, and then you can bet them if you're using trend analysis. And that's what he's saying. Like, you got to see what the regular personality is. So with me, you've seen me every day. So you know my personality. So if all of a sudden my personality was like this 180 shift, then you could, maybe I'm lying or maybe something else is bothering me. When I talk about Daria not talking to me for 3 or 4 days, not a lie. Yet my personality shifted because I got insecure going, what's wrong with her? And then she would say, oh, I'm working. Like today, I haven't heard from her. Today's Tuesday. I didn't hear from her yesterday. I didn't hear from her today. I'm more calm because I've talked to her more about it. And she started a new job. So I'm sure she's busy with that. And then she's got school with her daughter when she gets home. So I'm fine with it. She'll need rent soon. So I'm sure I'll hear from her. I'm sure I'll hear from her because my birthday is Thursday, the 7th. So I'm waiting to hear from her for that. And if I don't, I ain't giving her rent. And Jenna, I hear from her every day. She's got a little fever, but she can't get rid of it. So I tell her, take a hot sauna, take a hot shower, try to go sweat. That's what happens to me. I was in camp once and I got this fever, like high fever. I went out and played football anyway. We were just playing touch football, and I'd run up and down, and I was really good at catching the ball. And I sweated for an hour. And when I got back, my flu was gone. They couldn't believe it. Like, well, you two were together, and he's got the flu. And I'd go, well, yeah, but I sweated it out. So I keep telling her, go sweat it out. So we'll see. But I hear from her every day, and I'm sure I'll hear from my birthday. And that's it. I know I have the interview for the job Friday, but we don't know the time yet. But the guy just texted me, says, well, I just want to let you know we don't know the time yet. And I says, can you send me the job description? Because I really don't remember it. A lot of times I just apply, or if these guys apply me, I don't know if it's on LinkedIn or what. And I don't, to me, it's all generic, a financial analyst. I got to do budgets, forecast, month end, whatever it is. I know my Excel. I know everything. So most of the jobs are pretty similar. So he sent the job description, but he just texted me saying we don't know yet on Friday. And I'm going, okay. Still waiting to hear on the GM job, which I applied to a week ago Thursday. So I'm waiting. Last week I sent. She said we haven't heard from them. Working at GM on 2 contracts and having references, I would think I'd be in front of the line, but we will see. But anyway, so this is what I'm waiting for, this contract. Sounds good. It's hybrid, like 3 days of the week in the office too, which who cares? This way I don't have to, and it's close anyway, so it's not a big drive. I don't have to go on the highway. Anyway, so that's what I'm waiting on. Now I haven't heard from Alyssa in a while. She's got trouble at home, and now it's different. When I don't hear from Daria, I get worried. When I don't hear from Alyssa, I don't get worried. I just like, well, I'll hear from her when she can. She goes through a lot of shit. Daria is different because she's in Russia, and I worry about her. Alyssa, I don't worry about. She'll be fine. Thank you, Greg and John. Yeah, March 7th. See, see, it's a lucky day because it's a 7-day, which is very lucky for me. But thank you, Greg and John. Yep. So I got to keep remembering, okay, today's Tuesday, but I see it's the 5th. It's on Thursday. I think I'll go get barbecue that day. And I think I'll play poker that day. Because I've been staying away from poker because I'm taking the money, since I'm not working, I'm taking the money and buying gold and silver with it. And I know that's going to go up, as I can see today, gold at 21.31. I bought it, most of it at 1,800. And I don't even care because I'm not in gold to buy it at 1,700 and sell it at 2,100. I got, no. I'm selling it 40, 50,000, right? I'm not selling it now. And so haven't been playing a lot of poker because I don't want to risk it. I know it's a sure thing if I take my $300 and buy gold or silver. But if I go play poker, I could lose it because I could get aces and then lose to 3 nines, and there goes your bankroll. So Texas Hold'em is a very lucky game. It's not a lot of skill. It's a lot of luck. The biggest skill, I think, is how you bet. You check with the full house. Somebody bets. Okay, that's the skill part of the game. Not showing keeping your tells under control. So nobody really knows by looking at you what they got. But that said, it's not really how you play how do you play your hand? You got 2 cards. I got aces and ace flops. Well, I check. I mean, that's the skill, not over betting and getting everybody out. That's why when somebody bets a lot, it's usually a bluff because you wouldn't want people to go out. You want people to call you, and then you make more money. Like I can't make, if I bet $300 on a pair of aces, everybody folds. But if I bet 30 or 40, I get callers. I can make money. If everybody folds, I don't make anything. So the key about poker is to make the most amount of money. That's what you're trying to do. Anyway, so I might go Thursday. I'll see how I feel. We'll know about the job Friday. So we'll see. It's a Teams. I don't have to go into the office. It's a Teams. So I'm like this. And from what I'm learning from this CIA agent, it's mostly you want to, they're going to ask you questions. They're in control. So you want to be brief and answer that and then ask them questions to come. You really want to, in my mind, forget the CIA guy. In my mind, I'm trying to make the guy comfortable to the point where I prove I can do the job. Right? I got a master's. I got 20 years of experience. Believe me, I'm going to do your job. So you don't have to worry, can I do the job? That's why I'm shocked the other guy didn't hire me, where I told him how to do everything. And I assume he probably wanted somebody cheap because he's not a very smart guy, this guy. He didn't even have a master's. So he's probably looking at it. I'll get the guy, everybody knows the same. I'll get the guy who's cheapest, knowing I wanted 110. But I would have taken 90. He probably got somebody for 70. And then it'll be fucked because you can't buy cheap. You get what you pay for, basically. But with me, you get 10 times more because of all my experience and my masters. Anyway, so with that said, I'm very good at talking about myself, as you see here. I mean, this is all winged. I don't have a script. I just go down the rabbit hole of the subjects we talk about: gold and silver, bricks, and I'll catch a video of the CIA guy, but it's talking about lying. I'll watch finance and gold shows to see if anything makes sense to bring in. And then, of course, football, which is what we talk about. But I don't really necessarily want to get into basketball, baseball a little, but mostly football is what we want to delve into. It's a little harder. Now we can start talking about the draft or how a team should be made and things like that. So it's really not scripted, but that's why I'm good at interviewing, because then it's really talking about yourself. What have you done? Oh, I did this, this, and this, and this, and this. There's one, I automated a travel and entertainment system at Hiram Walker, which is a Canadian club there. I was the champion for it, or the program manager, whatever you call it, where I did that. And we went from paper into an Oracle system. So I always have that in my back pocket, or what I did at Mercedes. It's right there. It's perfect, so I can, because that's the thing when you're honest and you've done everything. I can say I 75% in football, and I can say, yeah, we hit KC over Baltimore. We hit KC over San Francisco. We had the Lion Frisco over, because I did it. I thought about it. I picked it. We won on them. So it's easy to think of because they're real and they're not lies. They're not made up. See, that's the thing. The guys that make up the game. Oh, yeah, I hit this game, and they don't even know what they hit because they're in fantasy land. So I try to keep it real. So anyway, gold's up. And if you notice, Bitcoin's getting hit. So I believe the COMEX has gotten, as Mark McGuire said, out of gold and silver. And you can see it's run up probably $60, $70. Well, really since the first, right? The 1st of March is when it finally started to go. Second and third were the weekend, and now 4th and 5th. So I'm expecting this week that we'll be 2,300 at least, and you just might see it go 60, 70. Now it's going like 20, 30 a day, a little bit of down, but mostly up, and then you're going to start seeing 100, 200. But once it gets going, all the passengers are getting off the Titanic, and then the frenzy comes. We're looking for a lifeboat. We're looking for a lifeboat. So as people start to question, why is gold going up? I thought it was just insurance. Why is it going up? People will start realizing that it's the lifeboat, and they'll start realizing they need to buy it, because all of a sudden gold is moving. Everybody told me gold doesn't move, that I should be in the stock market. But as they start seeing gold go, and I've told enough people to buy gold and they just laughed at me, are going to now go, oh, fuck, he was right. I better buy some. I got the lifeguards buying it. They're making money. And, what I rely on is you guys telling your friends and family, like Bobby does, like you do, we need to buy gold. Although we usually get, like you say, Grega, you usually get a kickback from the family or the girlfriend that you're crazy and why would I buy it? And same thing with Bobby, the girlfriend or the family doesn't understand why he's buying it. Well, in about a month, they're going to realize why we bought it, right? Right now it's 21. I'm looking forward to 25, and no, I'm not. It's not life insurance, and I'm not. The dollar is not going anywhere, right? It's going to take a while because there's a lot of rich people who have there's a lot of people that have a lot of these. and they're not interested in it going to zero. So a lot of people are going to keep it going, but a lot of the foreigners are going to start selling it. That's why the market's going to go down. The banks are going to go down. So be careful of that. That's really what's going to happen, is people are just out of their fucking minds. They're just acting like not a problem. I'll just, here, Jared Goff, $45 million contract. You'll never see a penny of it because there's not going to be dollars to pay you. And these athletes are just beyond stupid. Oh, I get a nice contract. It's worthless. It's not any money. You don't have any money. What are you talking about? So that's really what happens. And I just love how it's business as usual. Now, we'll still need to make cars. I mean, there'll be a transition. So the dollar won't be worth anything outside the U.S. Inside the U.S., any goods that we get from China or any other country, Germany, will be much more expensive. That's what will happen because our dollar's going weaker. So that's one problem. And then what we get here, we won't notice it. But I noticed gas. I was out yesterday going to the pool, and I filled up for gas like a week ago for $2.97. It's now $3.39 in maybe 10 days. And, I'm itching to fill up before it goes to $3. So it's almost like this is what hyperinflation is. Hyperinflation is I get gas $2.97. Now I notice gas $3.39. And now I want to get gas before it goes to $4. And then I want to get gas before it goes to $5. That's hyperinflation, is running to get it before the prices keep going up and up and up. And if it's Russian oil, we're fucked. Or Saudi oil, we're fucked because they're going to raise. They don't even want our money. That's the point. They want gold. They're not going to take U.S. dollars. So Putin's going to say, we don't want it. So I don't know where we're getting our oil from. But we need to be able to make our own oil. Now, at the grocery store, we're not seeing that much. I'm not seeing it like that. Broccoli was on sale. I got some yesterday. Tuna fish, nothing. Still see the sale on Oreos and Fritos. It's still $5, but get the second one free or something like that. I was at the grocery store yesterday. I got burger for $4.99 a pound for 86%. I threw in the freezer. I got chicken, $2.49 a pound for chicken breast. Very good prices. So I'm not seeing those go up, but I did see oil. So again, to try to really guess the inflation rate is impossible because some items go up in price. So like I noted, Pepsi went from a dime to $2.50. Bread went from a quarter to $3. This is 1971 to today. Wendy's went from 55 cents to $5. They all three have different percentages that they've gone up because there's different markets, there's different competition. Wendy's has McDonald's and Burger King to worry about. Bread, there's 52 types of bread. Pepsi has Coca-Cola, Faygo, 7-Up. So they can't just raise their prices. A car, there's so much competition. We don't know. In house, there's so much competition. Gold has no competition. So it's gone from 37. Now, I wrote this a couple weeks ago. It was 2050. Now it's 2150, basically. Silver. Now, here's the interesting in silver is $1.50. I got 25. Well, it was really 22, and now it's 23. So silver, again, because it's being used industrial, it's It's not like where gold is money, silver is money, but it's viewed at industrial also. Although I did think with Mark McGuire that it would start going up a little bit. Anyway, so that's what we know is going on. That's why you can't say inflation is 2 or 3. Inflation is printing the money. The more you print, the less it's worth. I do see in my notes it's a little bit about supply more than printing the money. What did they call it? So here it says, who is this? Prices go up through idle resources. I don't know about that, but money illusion, the value of the dollar is down. International market won't tolerate inflation. We'll see. It's tolerating it so far. Rational expectations, everyone thinks inflation will happen. So if you think it's going to happen, it will. It was something I was reading. I don't know. I was going through my notes, so I read something on inflation. The value of money is what money can purchase. The market talks in prices, so understand that. So its value is what it can purchase. That's why inflation, it can purchase less. Now, it's mostly printing of the money, but it's what it can buy. But because you print more money, you can't buy as much. That's the trigger for what prices are. The value of money is what it can purchase, goes down when you keep printing it. So there's that connect the dots. They're not at the beginning, they're in the middle. So in other words, if I print the money, the value of the money goes down. Now what I can purchase with the money. So you're already down a level to try to explain it. There was something I wanted to read. The worst investment for a bank is, for 2 points, anybody? Real estate. Because it's long-term. Savings accounts are short-term. Real estate is very risky, as BlackRock will find out when they go broke buying all the houses. See, this is a guy, this Fink guy he's a salesman. He sold real estate. Shouldn't be running the company. Doesn't know what he's doing. Let's see, what other? The key to a bank. What's the key to a bank? It's how good are the IOUs. So let's walk back to the bank. I put in 70,000 into the bank. You're going to give me 5% back. Where are you going to get the money from? You're either going to borrow it from the Fed or you're going to loan it out to people buying houses or cars. So if I need a house, I take out a loan from a bank. If I need a car, so I bought my Camry, I got a loan from a credit union. And I had to pay them back $20,000 at 2% for so many years, so much money, which I already did. And but what if I don't pay them back? So they're going to use, so the idea is they use my money to they use my money to pay the interest for people that put their money in a money market or a CD or an annuity or a real estate trust, if they can do it at a bank or you do it on Wall Street. So when they do it, they're counting on the money coming in. But that's why they got to lend to able and willing, and that's the whole problem. So able is somebody with money, and willing is somebody who will take the loan. So if they lend it to me, they know I'm able to pay them back, and I'm willing to borrow the money to buy it because I need a car. And so what happens is they need me to pay the loan back on, let's say, on the car. It was $450 a month. So they're expecting the $450 to come in to pay somebody with a that has money in the bank that's looking for a money market or CD. Where do they get the money to pay the interest down? Through people like me getting loans on cars or houses. So they're anticipating me paying them back, which I did. However, the person that doesn't pay them back, how do they pay the guy who got the CD or the money market? They can't. I mean, because they're expecting my money in and my money doesn't come, and all of a sudden they don't have money they're expecting. They're fucked. And that's the whole point of it. So that's really what you're looking for there. And that's what happens with the bank. So that's the problem. It's a timing issue where if you don't have it, it's the quality of the IOU. So I owe the bank $25,000 for my car. I put the car up for collateral, but they don't want the car. And then they got to sell the car and deal with that. They want me to pay, 3-4 years of payments and pay it off. That's what they want from me. They want my money to pay it off so they can pay other people with it. So it's the quality of the IOU is the bank. That's the bank's problem now. The quality of these IOUs are not good because Clinton made all the banks lend money to people who were not able. They might have been willing, but they weren't able to pay it back. And then they did, instead of doing 2%, they did 1% variable, and then it went to 4 or 5%. They couldn't afford the 4 or 5%. That's the problem. So if they can't afford the 4 or 5%, they default. And if they default, then they don't get the money in to pay the people who have the money in the bank for savings. So now what's going to happen next week's all these repos. Now, I don't know, they'll probably be extended, but the interest rate is higher. What do banks do? Because if people start defaulting on these repos, they're not getting the money in to pay off the people with the money in the bank. So then if they're really in trouble, what they might do is steal your money. Say, you know what? We needed your money. It's really not your money. It's our money. So the $70,000 we have in the bank, we're just going to take it. And that's probably more likely than not likely. The Fed does bail them out, but because the banks own the government and the government does the bailout, in other words, JP Morgan's going, we're gonna bail ourselves out. And that's what happens to a lot of banks. They just, we just lost $10 billion. No problem. We'll bail ourselves out. And they print the money. But that causes inflation, and the money's not worth $10 billion. You print $10 billion, but it's worth $7 billion. So the banks get bailed out, but the money is becoming worth less and less. So you have your money in the bank, you're fucked because you think you have it. So either A, it's not worth anything. B, you can't get it out because it's not there. They don't have the money to give you to get your money out. Or C, the money's worthless, which is what it is. So you got all three of these hitting you. The 70 grand isn't worth 70 grand. It's worth zero. And, by the way, we don't have money to give you to get it out. We're going to keep it. So 2 out of the 3, you're fucked, right? Which is why I say don't have your money in the bank. So if this idiot's talking about gold as an insurance policy, but I don't want to use it, he's clearly, see, this is the difference between an economist like moi and all these idiot stockbrokers. They don't understand inflation and economics. And that's why I like this guy. He thinks it's, it's an insurance, but I don't want the house to burn down to get the insurance money. Well, why don't you get out of the house? In other words, you got your dollars in what? Stocks, bonds, real estate trusts, annuities. They're all paper products. So when the paper goes to zero, what the fuck are you doing into all these paper products, acting surprised that you don't know the value zero? What the hell are you doing? So that's the real problem, is the people don't really understand what's going on. And that's why I just roll my eyes, because, or as Bobby would say, shake my head. Because, well, if you're understanding what's going on as we do, you're just in gold and silver. You're out of the bank. You're out of money. You're out of the stock and bond. You're out of all that. You're only in gold and silver. 99% of my money's in gold and silver. I have a little bit out for bills until I get back to work, and that's it. And I hope I get back to work soon before gold goes to 10,000 an ounce and I won't be able to buy anymore. I'm having fun buying it for 2,000, 2,100, but now it's going to cost me 2,200. Although the premiums should start going down. Let's see what the premiums are today. Gold's at 21.28. So it was 21.33, and now it's a little bit of whatever, 21.29. But let's go to eBay. So 21.29, and on eBay, so as I show you, 22.10, 22.20. So 22.08 for the Cougarand, 22.21. So now it's 22. We just made money. Our gold's now worth 2,200. I think in my inventory I listed at 2,100. So I just made money on all my ounces. It's now worth more. But they're still with the same premium for some reason. Looks like the Eagle's $100, 22.21, and then the Cougarand's like $80, which is what it's been. And the Maple Leafs also, it's actually more, 22.20. And see, this guy's got a lot, right? Here, the Maple Leafs. This is a 30-day auction. Well, it's not an auction, it's 30 days. So he puts out a month's supply, and you can see it's almost gone at 22.20. This one doesn't say it, it's 22.10. And the Cougarand, so now here, the Cougarand's almost gone at 22.08. And the Eagle here, 22.21's almost gone. So a little different buyers. The silver, even though it's gone up a little, 32.25. Now I can get it cheaper at my place. But you're seeing what's happening with the gold and the silver. It's now 2,200. And still plenty of buyers. And what it'll do is lead people into realizing that, oh, fuck, I need to be in gold. Why is gold going up? Bitcoin's down 7,000 today. Stock market's down today. The dollar, you have no idea if it's up or down because they don't price in dollars. They'll price the dollar to the ruble or to the euro, but they don't say, oh, the dollar's value is 1 cent. So you can see gold going up. So as this happens, you now start realizing what's really going on. As they start waking up, this is why I use the Titanic. So it hits the iceberg and people aren't moving. They're not going ABC. We got hit, water's coming in, the ship's going to sink, we need to get the fuck off. They're not doing. They just say, well, the iceberg hit us, but we're fine. And they're not getting off the light. So the inflation and all the dollars hitting, people are not going and understanding with the inflation, the dollar's going down, it's going to sink. I need to get into gold. So they're not carrying it out. We have. And that's why we're into gold, and that's why we're buying it. So that's the point of it, is now the people are realizing the boat's going to sink. Not yet, but they're getting close. 21.30. Okay. But that's all they don't think it'll run more. But that's why if we can get to 2,400, we'll get to 3,000 to 5,000 very quickly. And that's what we're waiting for. And the same thing with silver. Once silver breaks 25, it goes to 30, it goes to 35, it runs to 100. See, for silver, once it gets over 50, then people will realize, oh my God, something's changed. It's not COMEX anymore. With gold, they're not realizing it yet. They see it at 21.30, but they're not. It needs to break 22 and then get to 25, and then people will go, oh shit, I need to buy gold. So right now they're going, well, that's the all-time high, but it'll come back down. And that's really the problem. When you're dealing with morons, they don't really understand. They're looking at the price. There's so many people I've talked to about gold and go, I didn't make any money on it. I go, well, it's paper gold. Why would you sell it at these cheap prices? Right? You got to understand it's paper versus physical, right? So this price is paper price, not physical. Physical is much, much higher. So all we're trying to do is get to the physical price, which is somewhere in the 20s. And the paper price is going up, which is a record for the paper price. But you must understand the differentiation between the paper and the physical. And that's what they don't do. Let's see. Just looking at some notes. Here's a good one. Government is solely responsible for the business cycle and the unemployment that results and the inflation. Well, we know that they do the eliminating runaway inflation, lessons from the German hyperinflation. The Germans printed new money and halted future inflation expectations. So when inflation gets very high, the expectation is it's going to continue because you're going to keep printing and the money's worthless. So you must come out with a new currency, but the new currency's got to be backed by gold, or the expectations are the new currency is going to be shit. But that'll stop the old currency from inflating. Anti-inflation policy, one focus, eliminate inflation. Be wary of pessimistic conclusions that inflation can't be removed. Lessons of the German inflation hyperinflation 1919 and 1923. the Reichsberg printed a lot of money off of gold, inflated for the war. So when World War, Germany owed all this money to the other. I mean, that was you lost, you owe us money. You got to pay for the war. So Germany said, "Is okay, we'll pay for the war." I don't know if they had a choice. And the way they did it was to print money. Well, we'll just print a lot of money. That'll pay for the war. But look what happens when you print a lot of money. It created the hyperinflation and the inflation. You printed so much money, it had no value. Well, that sounds about like what we're doing here, right? So we're printing all this money and we're killing the value of it. So when we print trillions and trillions of dollars, and when the overseas money comes back, that's when it's really going to ship's really going to hit the fan. The cause of the Great Depression was, well, business stagflation and unemployment. So he's looking at it from that standpoint. The business cycle, the boom and the bust. The stock market crashed because interest rates went up, businesses declined, and profits went down. Well, that's what I keep saying when they raise interest rates, is you're going to cause a recession and the stock market to crash because it makes things more expensive. So as interest rates go up, costs more money to borrow, costs more for everything. Businesses decline because, if I can sell, if I sell, everybody doesn't understand. We're the market, Say's law, supply creates demand. We work, we get supply, money, and then we spend it. We demand production. That's what we want. So it's very hard for it to, it's very hard to just, go, oh, okay, that's what's going to happen. And so as the costs go up, the market says no, but the cost went up. So the key is, can a company not take cost increases? A lot of it's hard because it's utilities, it's the electricity, it's the heat, it's your rent. What can you can't just switch buildings. So you're an automaker and you got all this big, huge plant. You can't just move where you're going to find a new plant, right? And their costs going to be high. So you can't just move. And that's where the problem is. So your rent goes up, heat and electric go up. Now everything costs more. Okay, maybe my steel went up. Maybe my tires and my paint go up. So now it costs more to make the product. Will the public take the cost and go, well, I got to raise the cost 20%. And the public's going to say no, because our rent and our heat and electricity went up and our this and our that went up and our food goes up. So I don't have the extra money to give you for it. And that becomes businesses decline. Therefore, you're not as profitable. So I'm selling the Canadian Club at 50 and it cost me 35. I'm making $15 a bottle. But now my costs go up to 50 and I can't raise my price. So now I'm selling it for 50. My costs are 50. I ain't making anything. Now, how's the stock going to perform? Probably not too good when your profits are down. Except for Amazon and Apple and those companies. You watch, Apple's going to be in trouble because people aren't going to take their TV shows and then their phone. Who the hell has $50 for a phone? Yeah, man, out of your mind. Government price controls. High tariffs are a big problem. Went worldwide. Farming collapsed because we couldn't export because it was too expensive. So this is the other part of the Great Depression. The stock market crashed because the businesses couldn't pass their cost, couldn't raise their prices because of higher costs. So all their earnings dropped. And then the government price controls, you put these tariffs on, which was the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. So all of a sudden, your you're charging more on the tariff. So if we send you wheat, we're going to add a tariff to it. Well, they can't afford it. So as I told you my Romanian story, I'm in Romania, and we're at a nice restaurant, and we order excellent food, steaks and mousse and salads and some drinks. And it comes to 160 lei, which are Romanian dollars, are 4-to-1. So it's $40 meal for me and Carmen. And I go to the manager. I go, how the fuck can you sell this cheap? It's too, you should be selling it for a lot more. This is great food. He says, I can't, because we got poor people here. We don't have rich people in Romania. So therefore, if I try to sell it at what it would be in the US, $70, $80 for the meal, I wouldn't get any customers. So he had to keep it low. I assume it's a mafia-run restaurant because his cost had to be high to make, and how could they afford to lose money at it? So where are they getting these nice steaks and chocolate mousse and everything else this cheap? So probably a mafia-run restaurant, but that's okay. So as farming collapsed because we couldn't export. So again, we're trying to sell it at a higher price. People in Europe or Asia, wherever the hell we're selling it, Saudi Arabia, can't afford it. It's too expensive, so we can't sell. So all our farmers collapsed because we have all this that we're money on growing this wheat and corn, and the money is spent, but we can't do anything with it. We can't sell it. So see, this number is a weird number. 269 is not a Michigan area code. I'm in 248 or 734. So that creates like who's, it's one of these scam calls. So the farmers couldn't sell, but their costs were there. They're losing money. And this led to a banking crisis because the banks loaned the farmers money. So here's how the business cycle works. The farmers got to plant their crops, but they don't get the money till they sell it. So the farmers borrow from the bank, and they put up the crops as collateral. They said, well, I'm going to plant tomatoes and potatoes and corn and wheat, and we're going to sell it to the Japanese or whoever. And so I need $10,000. And then they buy the crops, and they're going to normally sell the crops for $20,000. And they make 10 grand. And this way, with the money they make, they pay off the bank. Thank you very much for the loan. And off they go. And so the bank loans the money to the farmers, is expecting them to be able and willing to pay it back. But what happens? Because of these stupid tariffs causing the prices to be higher, they don't have buyers, because that's what happens when things are more expensive. You want to sell my Canadian club $50 at 100. How many bottles do you think I'm going to sell? Not a lot of bottles at 100. Some diehard Canadian club people, but not most of them will go to Scotch or whiskey or rum or bourbon, or we'll go to vodka or whatever beer. I mean, whatever we can get drunk on. So this is the problem. When your costs are too high, you can't sell it. So, but it also created a problem for the banks because the banks lent the money out. So you can see the whole pyramid, right? So they need money to sell it in other countries. They get the money, they pay the bank back. They're able and willing, but in this case, they weren't able because the price went up because of the stupid government interfering, and therefore they can't sell, and therefore they can't pay the bank back. They have all the crops, but they can't sell them. This is what's called the invisible hand. Stay the fuck out of it, government. And this is the problem when the government sticks its nose in, they fuck it all up. And this is a perfect example of government price controls. Oh, we're going to make wheat cheap or expensive or whatever. They're fucking it up. So the banks collapse and the farmers get fucked. And people can't afford, so they're not eating either. So everybody's fucked because for some reason the government wants to manage everything. Oh yeah, it's called Keynesianism. It's called communism. It's the government runs the market as opposed to the free market. That's the thing that's amazing. There's two things that are amazing I don't understand. We know Adam Smith works. We know the invisible hand, laissez-faire, leave it fucking alone. Let me sell to this guy and that guy, and everything's fine. Leave me alone. And then why do we keep getting off the gold standard? It works. It's the only thing that works. You can't inflate it, but you don't see, you think you're better off with paper money that's worthless than real money that's got a value. And this I don't understand. So you're the mafia and you're sitting there, or JP Morgan, and you're printing. Or you're George Soros, you're printing. Although I think he probably has Nazi gold. So you're printing. And you don't even know what you're printing is worthless. That's the biggest joke. That's the biggest joke of the whole thing, right? Your money, the money's printing is worthless. So, I mean, that's what kills. So why are we off the gold standard if the money that we're going to use is going to be worthless soon? So I just really don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense. But that's, people just keep making that mistake. It happened in France and England and Spain and Rome. And they were on the gold standard and everything's going. And then they get off of it because they want to print more money. They either want to go to war, which again, I still don't understand the point of war. And then, like the Romans, they take the gold and silver out of their coins to keep, for what reason? Just change the value of gold if that's the problem, right? If gold's 35 an ounce, make it 500 an ounce. I mean, I don't understand why they don't do that. Why are you not doing that? Why are you getting off the gold standard so you can print money and put it in your pocket, but the money is worthless and it's worth zero? So you get a small time where the money is worth something, and then eventually at every fucking time, the money goes to zero because it's worthless because you printed too much of it. You can't print all that money. And no, I don't want to hear about velocity. That's not even a real thing. Or insurance. That's not a real thing. So amazing what people will come up with. One idiot said something about a milkshake theory. What the fuck is he talking about? So they want to just invent things that aren't real. It just blows my mind. All right, so 1931, unemployment is 8 million. Sounds like a big number. 1932, the government doubled income tax. So again, the government taking the money out of our hands. And what do they do with it? They can't spend it as well as we do. So another big problem. Government caused the depression with tariffs, so things cost more, their taxes. Price fixing for farmers, which are terrible. High income tax and subsidies. All other taxes were raised. FDR devalued the dollar by 40%, which means he printed. And he seized the gold holdings. Why would you take the gold? People have gold for protection. And this idiot's worried about insurance. At least he has the gold, or I don't know if he's smart enough to have it. He seizes the gold holdings, but he does pay them the value of the gold for the gold. And gold really didn't go up, so I don't really know why he did it. So in other words, gold's $20 an ounce. FDR takes all the gold. The gold's still $20 an ounce, so what did he gain by taking the gold? This I don't know. He started a minimum wage, which you can't have a minimum wage. That's where the socialists come in. Oh, well, we got to make everybody should make $100 an hour. No, I'm a business. I can't afford to give Joey, $20 an hour. It doesn't fit in my budget. I don't make that much. My payroll cost, I can afford $10 an hour. And if you make me pay 20, just do without or do something legal where I don't pay the guy. I'll pay the guy under the table. I mean, it's very simple what you do. So you pay the Mexican kid who came in illegally and you say, I'll give you $10 an hour. And he's happy to have a job, so he takes it, which is part of the problem we have now with all these illegals coming in. You really take jobs away from people that live here because they theoretically get the minimum wage of $20 an hour, but you're fucking everybody over. So again, the government shouldn't be doing that because it's a business process. The business determines what they can sell it, sell it for an appropriate price based on their cost. And then what does the market allow? And the government wants to bypass that whole process and what the market is. So the company doesn't know what their costs are. Come on. So if the government, so in other words, we're running a business and we're going to sell Mahomes cards. So what's our cost? What can we sell it for? What's our cost? Do we go into business? And we determine, yes, we can make $500 for this. It costs $200. We'll sell Mahomes cards and then cover all our costs, utilities, the internet, and everything else. We add it all up. It's $400. We can get this for $5. We sell it. But now you're raising my costs because you're saying, well, no, minimum wage. We got to pay this guy more. Get out of my business. That's not for the government to say. That is between me and the employee, what he wants and what I can pay. Maybe he gets, it's like me with GM. I want $55 an hour. And if they only want to pay $45 an hour, then we have to negotiate. But if minimum wage is let's say minimum wage is $50 an hour for me, but GM only wants to pay $45 an hour, then what the fuck does GM do? They can't afford me at 50. They can afford me at 45. So in my world, I'd negotiate down to 45 and say that's fine. In the government's world, they force GM to pay 50 an hour, which they can't do. It doesn't fit their cost structure. And they can't be profitable paying me 50, but they can at 45. And so mostly this is, let's say you're working at McDonald's. It's up to McDonald's to come up with a wage based on what the market will bear. Everything's about the market, including the labor market. So they put a help wanted sign, come work at McDonald's. You can do hamburgers and fries. And we're going to pay you $10 an hour. And nobody shows up. What do we do now? Okay, we'll have to raise it to $12 an hour. And nobody shows up. Finally, there's a point where they get to like 17 an hour. And people start showing up that are qualified, that do a good job. And that's what they're forced to pay, what the market will bear. So the market works, there's many markets. There's selling there's selling this and people buying it, and selling labor and buying labor. So when you work, people are buying you. They're buying my skills, and they're going to pay what I allow them to pay. Right? No, you're not. I've had calls for $30 an hour after I'm done laughing, I go, fuck off. You ain't $30 an hour? Good luck. Hoping I'm desperate and I'll take $30 an hour, and those people I don't want to work for. So there's you want to come flip hamburgers and fries at McDonald's, we'll give you 12 and give you 15. No, that's not enough. Finally, they hit a number where you go, okay, that's good. Now, a lot of it is because of the government, where they're sitting there fucking around, interfering, going, you know what? We're going to pay, we're going to give benefits, Social Security or Medicare or welfare or something, and we're going to pay the people X amount, which turns into $15 an hour. So if I go to work, I lose that benefit, and I'm not going to take $10 an hour because I'm getting 15 from the government. The government entered McDonald's can't interfere. The more they interfere, the worse it is. Government should get the fuck out. It doesn't know how to run, and it's using the excuse, well, it's fair. It's fair they should get $20 an hour. No, they should get what McDonald's can afford to pay them. But if they're good, maybe McDonald's promotes them to supervisor and they make $25 an hour. But because you're not going to let McDonald's hire them because it's more than they can afford, the guy who could be a supervisor or a manager down the road doesn't get the opportunity because he's like, they're not paying me enough. And again, another flaw in the government, another one of the 5 million that they do. Labor unions are very bad for the same reason. They determine a price that you need to pay for labor. And in a union, it's not based on productivity. I used to work at a grocery store. I was 16. I thought it was the stupidest thing in the world. There was no incentive to work. The incentive was to show up and take 8 hours to do your job. They couldn't do anything. As long as you did your job, there was nothing as long as you didn't steal or do something bad, there was nothing that you could do, right? That you couldn't get rid of the employee, and after X amount of time, every 90 days or something, you'd get a raise. So I wouldn't get a raise for my work. I'd get a raise because I was in a union that said after 90 days, he gets a raise. It was the stupidest system I've ever seen. What do we know about the Great Crash by a guy named Reynolds? So we did a lot of books. So there was Seinholz, who I talked about, and then now this is Reynolds. The 1920s were great, not bad. Stocks crashed due to government intervention and the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, calling for increased tariffs on imports, monetary control, and the political business cycle. That's why tariffs causing for increased tariffs on imports. Okay. Monetary control and the political business cycle by a guy named Poole. Public debates on the policymakers' motives, objective of the Fed, number one problem syndrome, political gaming. Types of money or medium of exchange. There's money, there's commodity money. Cows and grains were money at first. Two values, use and exchange. Specie is gold and silver, actual currency, gold coins. Deposit with the goldsmith, money substitute. Two, the money so the first money is gold and silver. The second money is a money substitute, is money certificate, which is a checkbook, 100% backed by gold and silver certificates. The second is fiduciary money, acceptance of truth, word of honor based on a witness. These are checks. So these are checks you would write at the bank. Now they're debit and credit cards. Two ways to know something, observation and faith. Believe, the leap of faith produced by banks. And the third money substitute is fiat, let it be, let there be light, fiat money produced by the government. And this is obviously the worst case, and the fact, which doesn't help. So we want the money certificate, which is backed by gold and silver, but yet they keep going away from it. Really, it's really fucked. Prices are set by the next best alternative. Interesting. So would you pay $3 for a Coke for a 2-liter? Well, if Pepsi's $2.80, no, I'd buy the Pepsi. If Pepsi's $3.10, then I would buy Coke for $3 if that was my two. What it affects expectations of future prices are future income and the future value of money. Inflation. Market discipline on prices, external, gold standard, internal, print money. Credit contraption. Here's the only place I see deflation, and it's just they want money. I don't know what that really means. Income policy, full employment is K. H can't hold down prices in an auction society. Types of money, pure money and hybrid money. Pure money is cash. Hybrid money is checks, as we've talked. Inflation, there's repress, which are wage and price controls. So you're not in the market creeping 1% to 2% every year, which is what we do now. Latent, which is a cash crunch. And imported, all countries are fixed to one country, which is what we have now. They're all fixed to the U.S. The notion of inflation, idle resources, prices go up through idle resources. That doesn't make any sense. Prices go up because the dollar loses its value. So I don't quite follow that. Notion of money illusion, value of the dollar is weaker. International market won't tolerate inflation, rational expectations. Everybody thinks inflation will happen. That's the hyperinflation. Hut prices determine purchasing power, not money supply, generation of income. Technology goes up, population goes up, stock of capital remains stable, saving preference, save now versus later. Capital and resources are allowed to run at market prices, no rigidities. I'm not quite sure. Is this Keynesian? Value of money, purchasing power, amount of goods and services you can buy. Supply of money doesn't affect purchasing power. Yes, it does. Who wrote this? Purchasing power is set, supply. So this must be a Keynesian. Hut must be Keynesian. So you got to be careful who you're reading, is what I keep saying, if they're Keynesian or not. Purchasing power, the inflation is printing the money, makes it worth less. As I've said, we'll go over it. value of money, 3 periods of economic growth. 1879 to 1914, worldwide growth, 4.9%. Everybody was on the gold standard. Funny how everybody on the gold standard, we have worldwide growth and no wars. Money supply could only go up to 5%. Prices dropped. Change in cash was less than the change in goods. A percent increase. Cash less than goods due to greater productivity. That's what you want. So all of a sudden you have a computer, you have a better TV, you got a better fridge, you got a better car. That's due to productivity. That's good. That's what you want. And prices drop due to competition. 1921 to 1929, high tide of Federal Reserve, best growth ever, only in the U.S. Economic, so prices go, economic growth 5%, productivity goes 5%, increase in cash. So because they printed money, but the productivity went up 5%, that's when like the Ford, the car came in. Well, that improved productivity a ton. So you had more money that went in to help Ford with the car, and that was okay. Then you probably had oil to run it and gas and stuff like that. So it's only like when the computer, so we have a good growth when the computers come in, when the car comes in, then it works out because that's the productivity increases. The third is 1981 to 1989, and exactly what I said, 3% growth rate. American manufacturing was 30% more productive. Computers, electronics, and prices went up, but you had better productivity. So anytime you have this big productivity push, that's not inflationary. And of course, then it's a good growth rate. So it's a 3% natural growth rate because you got things more productive. Now you'll say, well, there's always productivity increases. Well, not necessarily. The car is still the car. Computers out. Cell phones, maybe. You haven't really changed the fridge. The TV has actually gone down in price. The computer. But then you have bad things like the electric car did not help productivity. It hurt it, right? If the electric car would have been better than the gas-powered car, that would be increased productivity, but that's not what you had. The same thing with the digital dollar. There's no reason the digital dollar should even be thought of. It's not going to help productivity. There's nothing wrong if you print money or you don't print money, but then it should be electric. It shouldn't. It should just be my paycheck goes into my bank, and then I get debit and credit cards. And if I need cash, I can go get cash. And if you go digital and you can't get cash, I don't see how that improves productivity. It hurts it because the things I need money for, if I go play poker, there's a few things I can't use it for. So I can't use the money, and I don't know that that's productivity. So anyway, again, the 3 periods of economic growth, 1879 to 1914, we're on the gold standard. 1921 to 1929, we have a huge productivity lift. They printed money for that, like the automobile. In 81 to 89, 3% growth through American manufacturing was up 30%, computers and electronics. 21 to 29 was only in the U.S., which is why Germany went to war, Europe went to war. They were all fucked. Keynes believed in limit of output. Output goes up, prices go up. Savings is a leakage, so he doesn't believe in saving. Investment comes from spending, so he thinks everything's got to be spent. We don't want savings. Savings go up, consumption drops, investment drops, output drops, income drops, savings drops. Called the paradox of thrift. It's a Keynesian, so we know it's full of shit. The Austrian way is if consumption drops, savings go up because you're consuming less, you have more money. interest rates drop, profits go up, investment goes up, output goes up, and income goes up. The fallacy is business tries to make a profit. That's why everything works. So if savings go up, interest goes down, profit goes up. Profit's got to be greater than interest rate. Increased productivity, investment goes up. Interest rate drops, 3 reasons. Savings goes up, money supply goes up, no demand. New technologies, costs go down, standard of living goes up, productivity goes up, or productivity increases, prices drop, dividends go up, and wages go up. So these are all the Austrian thinking of what it's a better route than the Keynesians who don't like savings at all. And that's why they tax us more and they spend all them. See, again, right? What is this? Savings is leakage. So investment comes from spending. So in the Keynes world, which is what we're living in here for some reason, we have to spend. So that's why they're printing and printing and printing. But they don't step back to see it doesn't work. They don't step back to see the Austrian theory works. It's proven it works. The Keynesians proven it does. So you're seeing that it's not proven, and yet let's spend more money and more. And they don't realize that that's going to be inflation and the value of the dollar is going to drop because you idiots keep spending and printing and printing and spending. So when you save, you don't print, right? And everything. And really, you're trying to, by savings, you're saying the money be worth more in the future. Well, now with inflation, the money doesn't get worth more. Keynes, mature economy, no more can be invented. What fucking idiot is this guy? Demand side economics. This is why Reagan gets it for supply side economics, which it's really just Austrian economics. It's not demand or supply. Keynes is sitting there. Overall structure of the economy is a black box. The Keynesians believe it's homogeneous, labor and capital all the same. I mean, it's hard to even understand what the fuck the guy's saying. The heterogeneous, the Austrians believe all capital is different. We don't know what we're making, right? We're going to make different things, but we're going to make things, not labor and capital are the same. Ricardo said, markets are always correct. Trade-off between capital and labor. Low interest rates, high wages. High interest rates, low wages. Low interest rate, high wages, buy capital, lay off wages. When high interest rates, you sell capital and hire labor. So you can see how they're differentiated. Hayek was a very good Austrian economist, says spontaneous order, decentralization, you can't forecast the future. And I think that's the best way to say it. The Keynesians want to forecast the future. The communists, the Keynesians, basically the people, the George Soros who are trying to run the economics into the ground, these idiots believe you can forecast the future, but the Austrians believe you can't because we don't know what we're going to spend it on, and depending on the new product, right? So you're forecasting the future, and here comes cell phones, and here comes computers. How the fuck are you forecasting that? According to Keynes, they wouldn't appear. According to the Austrians, we then adapt to the new products and they're more productive and the prices go down and the standard of living is better. But we allow a computer and a cell phone in that. And the Keynesians would never allow it because they don't believe in new products. The economy moves towards equilibrium but never reaches it. So it's always trying to get equal. Gross national product only measures consumer goods, so it's not good. APS measures the whole process. So we want to use APS, and I'm going to try to figure out what that is. Price per something. I don't know. I'll check that out. Are you not going to tell me what APS means? Motherfucker. Well, it measures the whole process, so it's better than GNP, which only measures consumer goods. And we talked about the business cycle. The business cycle will not happen if it's created by an increased savings, only by the increase in the money supply. So only if the government does it. So it can only happen by fiduciary credit inflation, which is the Fed. So the central bank or the Fed creates all the problems. Right? It's the central bank fucking around with interest rates creates the trade cycle, unemployment, inflation. They shouldn't be around. Why they're around, I don't know. They're not supposed to be. It's in the Constitution. No central banks and only gold and silver backed money, and yet we just ignore it. All right. Well, enough economics for now. Once again, a medium of exchange is what everybody wants. Does everybody want Bitcoin? I listened to Douglas MacArthur again, the colonel, say that, well, Bitcoin's okay because it is a store of value. Does he know what a store of value is? It's money's function is a storage of purchasing power. So $100 is worth $100. It stores the purchasing power. That's what a money function is. Bitcoin is not that because the value is all over the place. Gold holds its value, but Bitcoin doesn't. And again, the difference is gold is portable, it's scarce, it's divisible for small exchanges, it's fungible, it's the same, you can replace with gold. It's accepted everywhere and it's durable. And you can't say that about Bitcoin. Is it portable? You can't carry it on you. Is it scarce? Absolutely not. Is it divisible for small exchanges? I don't know. Can you get a tenth of a Bitcoin? Is it fungible, the same, replaceable? Considering it's not an actual coin, we don't know. Is it acceptance? No. You can't go to a lot of places, will not accept it as, and it's not money, so people won't accept it. And is it durable? No. What if there's no internet? You don't have it. So there's nothing good about Bitcoin. We don't even know if it's real. One coin and the crypto queen say that, hey, we got one coin here. And then after she said, oh, by the way, it's not real. How do you know Bitcoin's real? Not like you can see them. It's not like, oh, here it is. Here's a Bitcoin. Yep, there it is. This is a Bitcoin. I got it in my hands. There's no such thing as a Bitcoin. You can't hold it in your hands. It's all computer generated. How do you think that's real? It's not acceptable everywhere. I can't buy a Toyota with it. I can't go buy dinner with it. I can't go to the grocery store with it. Oh, then I hear, well, some places take it, but that's not the point. The point of money is its acceptance. Medium of exchange is what everybody wants. Most marketable commodity. Is this what everybody wants? No. They're in it because of the value. Oh, it's going to go to them. I'm going to make money, so I'm going to buy Bitcoin. That's basically what they're saying. I'm only buying it to make money. I'm not buying it to buy things. So I have this as a medium of exchange to buy things. Gold, I have to buy things with. I'm going to take it and buy food and groceries or a car or a house, go on a trip. I'm going to use gold for that. And people will accept it. They do accept it. However, that's why I don't understand like these states accepting gold as money or whatever they're doing. It is money. What are you fucking talking about? Are they making it a medium of exchange, and what's the value of it? Paper gold is not the value of physical gold. This is the most obvious. So I don't know. So money functions, it's a medium of exchange, which is what we talked about, those 6 things. It's a store of purchasing power and a unit of account. Did you make or lose what? Excuse me. Value depends on judgment. Market decides money is marketable in value. The market decides this. Is the market, have they decided that Bitcoin is marketable in value? No. They've given a price on it and people are all excited, but oh, it hit 67 and now it's 61. The problem is these people are too stupid to take profit. They're too stupid to understand it's a penny stock. So when the stock goes to 67,000, you need to sell it. Not, I'm never going to sell it because it's going to go to $1 billion. First of all, when it does that, the dollar won't have a value. So the best part of this Bitcoin game is the dollar going to zero, Bitcoin goes to zero. Gold doesn't go to zero. Gold goes through the roof because it'll be the only money out there. So now gold becomes the monopoly, not Bitcoin. Bitcoin has no value by itself. It's priced in dollars. And I don't see how you're going to price Bitcoin in Bitcoin. Oh, it's worth so much. Bitcoin's worth so much. What? Dollars? Bitcoins? You're going to buy a house with a Bitcoin? Oh, I don't have a wallet. I can't accept it and I can't go to my bank with it. So really doesn't do me any good to take a Bitcoin for my house or my car. But you know what? Gold does. I can hold gold. Everybody knows gold's got value. See, that's the problem with it. It can't compete with gold. Gold is real money. And gold is the monopoly. The dollar kind of thinks it's competition, but it isn't. Let me take this. Hi, Derek. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hello. Let me call you right back. I'm in the middle of class. So it says Alyssa, but it wasn't. It was her daughter. Must have got on the phone and called. Anyway, probably what happened is I texted her and got it, but sorry about that. But I've been waiting for that call for a couple of days. So that's what you have is Bitcoin really money? And this is the problem. It's not. But people don't care about it being money. All people care about is that the value goes up. Gold, 21.27, up $13 today. This will be interesting if we can blow through 21 50 and get to 2,300 will be key. Silver 23.68. 21.27 for gold, up 13. Okay. Just a second. Hello. I'm fine. I'm just ending class. Can I call you back in like 15 minutes? Yeah, I'm on YouTube, but I saw it was you, so I wanted to take it. But let me call you right back. I'll be out shortly. Bye. Yeah, it was Alyssa, and as you heard, I will call her right back. So we'll go to like 5 o'clock, which is 2.5 hours. So Bitcoin's not real money, but people want it to be. The thought was to get out of the dollar. I agree with, but the digital part is not acceptable. I want to hold these chips. I want to hold the Mahomes card, right? I want to hold the dollar. I don't want a spreadsheet that I can't hold, right? That's the problem. So you're giving me this dollar, you're giving me Bitcoin, and my first question is, it's not acceptable by everybody. I can't use it. Now you might say, well, you can't use gold at every place. Well, I can. I have a better chance. The biggest problem people say about gold is you can't, if you go to the grocery store, how do you get change? Not that they'll accept it. But right now in this society, it's just this is the medium of exchange. And this is what's agreed on. You need this to buy goods and services. Gold buys you this, right? Bitcoin, a little bit harder, buys you this also. But it's an asset. This buys you this, right? So Bitcoin can buy you this. Mahomes can buy you this. Is Mahomes money? No. Gold can buy you this. Is gold money? Yes. Theoretically, gold is money. But is it what's accepted at Kroger's or the restaurant doesn't necessarily make, I need this for Kroger's to buy me the food no matter what I do. But if it's this or a Rolex, what the fuck's it? These are assets. Is Bitcoin an asset? I don't think so. I'm struggling with the fact that it's digital and not real. That bothers me. Gold is an asset. Gold is money. Gold has value. So this is more Bitcoin, and gold's more this. And so if your only explanation is I can't go to the grocery store or I can't go to the grocery store, I can't go to I can't go get food or pay my bills. Well, you can't do it with Bitcoin either. You can't do it with gold, and you can't do it with Mahomes. But they all have value. But gold is legally money, gold and silver. The difference is you can't print gold. I heard Bitcoin's doubling, so now there's 42 million of them out there. So I guess it's not limited. Gold you can't do that with. And Mahomes, there's only 50 of these, so you can't print this, and gold you can't print. There is what there is, and they haven't. There's 255,000 tons. I don't know if that's on Earth or in Earth. Is that the total we have, or the total that's been farmed out? This I'm not really sure, but that's really what the problem is. So the argument is, well, Bitcoin's money. It can't be because it's not accepted. You can't use it everywhere. And then they'll say, well, gold you can't use everywhere either. But they're both assets it's just like a Rolex. And I guess really what's the point? I mean, so the problem I have with Bitcoin, it's not something I can hold. Rolex is, the Mahomes card is, gold is. And I think that's really what the problem is. I can't hold it, and therefore I can't use it, and therefore people won't accept it. I can't go to Kroger's with it. And the fact that gold and silver are money definitely means I can use it. But so here's my point. Once this goes to zero because you printed it to fucking death, then you'll need a new medium of exchange, and it ain't going to be Bitcoin. There's no way it's a medium of exchange because you can't hold it. It's not accepted everywhere. People don't accept things you can't hold. You want your money in your pocket. Now, if I have physical gold and silver, that's the medium of exchange. Well, the restaurant's got to take something to stay in business. So they'll go to gold and silver and they'll start taking it. They'll start having priced in gold and silver. Well, mostly you'll go to a restaurant, prices will be in silver, and a steak will be a silver quarter, let's say. That'll be a New York strip. And so you go in with your 1 ounce silver, and you're going to get 3/4 back. And that's what you'll use for steaks and chicken and at the restaurants. And then you go to Kroger's and they'll price everything in that. But see, that's why you have a medium of exchange, because you must have, you must be able to buy and sell things. In other words, you get paid. So your paycheck has to come with the medium of exchange, right? In other words, what are they going to pay me at GM? They're going to pay me $100,000 of what? What does Bobby get? He gets $1 million a year. What is he getting? He's getting dollars now, but that's because it's the medium of exchange. That's the crucial part of the medium of exchange. You got to pay me my paycheck with it and then allow me to pay my bills with it. So it's pay me my paycheck, go to Kroger's, go to Costco, go buy a Toyota or a Mercedes, go on a trip. It's got to be used for all that. And I don't see how I don't have a Bitcoin account. How are you going to pay me? You're going to force me to get a Bitcoin account? No, thanks. You're going to force me into digital currency? No, thanks. So that leaves gold and silver. Are you going to pay me in gold and silver? You could. It is a medium of exchange. And then I could use it to pay rent. You just have to translate the money into gold and silver. So if my rent's $1,000 a month, what's my rent in gold and silver? And that's really what you're looking at, is what is it? How do you switch to it? But that's the point of the medium of exchange, which is what our civilization, the Romans used it, and the Spain and the Amsterdams and everybody. And that's what we use now. This is our medium of exchange. This is the best because it's simple. You can number it. You can put it in your pocket. How are we going to go to a digital that nobody's comfortable with? And gold and silver is limited. We don't really know what Bitcoin is. It could just as easily be worthless, right? Like OneCoin that the crypto queen did. How do you know there is Bitcoin if you don't have it? We all know what gold and silver is. We all know what a Mahomes card kind of looks like. What do we trust that there is actually a Bitcoin? No. I mean, you can be gullible and think, oh, it's worth $60,000. Do you really have it? Well, it shows up in my wallet. If you have a wallet, I guess. How is it getting value? Supply and demand? Who bought it? This is the problem with it. I mean, it could just as easily be that Bankman guy saying, oh, it's gone. It's zero. Or the crypto queen saying it's zero. This is a big problem because gold I have in my hands, Mahomes I have in my hand, Rolex I have in my hands, Picasso I got on my wall. Like I got Van Gogh on my wall. That's Van Gogh over there. Or there. That's Van Gogh, and that's Van Gogh. They're not real. They're posters, but I have them on my wall, which is huge. So that's the real problem with digital currency and Bitcoin. It's to me it's like a stock, right? I'm gonna go with this. It's a penny stock, only there's no financial set to it. So when you have Microsoft, you can see the financial statements. Oh, they're making $1 billion, so the company has value. I'll buy the stock. I really don't have the certificate. It's in my Merrill Lynch account, but I have 100 shares of Microsoft worth that. It says it in my account. I have 100, but I don't actually have I don't really have the certificate. Do I need it? Abso-fucking-lutely, especially with all the shit about to happen. Let's look at the money in your bank. You've got 200,000 in your bank. And then the shit hits the fan and you go to your bank saying, I want my 200 grand. They say, nope, can't have it. We don't have it. We're keeping it. You're fucked. And how is that any different than Bitcoin? Well, I really want my money. Where are you going to go? The banks just went out. Now what are you going to do with Bitcoin? Gold I have in my fucking hand. I don't have to worry about it. It's never going to go to zero because there's too much demand throughout the world. You're not going to confiscate it, right? They never really confiscated it in the 30s. They gave you the value. So now if they said, okay, you got to confiscate it, I'd get $21.30 for my ounce of gold. So it's really, they just force you to sell it. But what value does that happen? So the medium of exchange has to be something that you can use to get paid and to buy things. That's all it is. And I named you what it's got to be, accepted, durable, fungible, divisible, scarce, and portable. And it ain't scarce right now. So as all these countries, and the Romans started it, their medium of exchange went away. Their dollars, they took the gold and silver out. They had to come up with new money. And it wasn't worth anything. And Attila the Hun or whoever it was destroyed them. And so all these other countries have had that. But it's the best system is the medium of exchange system. You get paid, you take the money, and you buy things with it. And we've never gone to digital where you don't hold it. And this is going to be a problem. Do I really trust that there is even a Bitcoin out there? I do not. I don't trust it at all. I don't trust the value of it. And if I have to sell it, who am I selling it to get whatever the new medium of exchange is? And this is the problem. Okay, it's worth 61,000 today. Okay, sell it. Who are you going to sell it to? Your bank. And they got 61,000 lying around to give you? No. They're going to say, where'd you get it from? Oh, it's Bitcoin. Oh, okay, we got to give you a 1099 or whatever. Or they're going to say, sorry, you can't get it out. It's our money. We're keeping it. There's a lot of problems with it. I don't think it's money because it doesn't fit. It's not a medium of exchange. I don't know if it's divisible. I don't know if it's fungible. It's certainly not acceptable, and it's certainly not durable because it's not even real. So I have a lot of questions about it. I don't think it's money. I think it's a stock. Let's play it like a stock. It's like, and if I have, Amazon stock, I got 100 shares. And now it starts, the difference is you got to buy and sell stock, right? You do sell it. Nobody wants to sell Bitcoin, but let's say you do sell it. It goes into your wallet or my Merrill Lynch. Okay, now I sold my 100 shares of Amazon. Now what do I do with it? Okay, I bring it into I either leave it in the account or bring it into my bank. If I leave it into my account, what good is it? So at the end of the day, I got to get I need the money. So what happens now is that as people need the money because they can't trust it, as this goes out, this is why you start selling your stock. I need money. So you sell the stock and it goes to your bank because they're able to give you this bullshit. And then you transfer money into the bank. Boom. That's kind of what Bitcoin is. It's the same thing. And again, you got to trust that you can do that and the bank will give you the money and your bank will still be there. And I think that's the biggest issue I have. To me, it's the same as a stock. Gold isn't. Gold is money. I can have it in my hand and it won't lose value and nobody can say it's worthless. And I think that's a huge advantage. I don't have to rely on the bank for the gold. And then we'll see how it becomes the medium of exchange. It's usually printed money, gold certificates. This is usually what happens. So that's today's economics. I better call Alyssa. Hopefully we're getting together for my birthday. And we will see. So anyway, I mean, just think of Bitcoin as a stock, I guess. So it's the same principle. Would Microsoft or Amazon be the medium of exchange or be money? And the answer is no. You can't go to a restaurant and say, I'm going to give you 10 shares of Amazon to pay for dinner. They have no way of taking it. So that's where gold and silver, you can hand it to them. And that's why I don't like the digital. I think you need to have it. I think it's safer and smarter to have something than digitally. So with that said, not much on football today. A lot of economics, but I wanted to point out that one guy about the liar. So people, I mean, it's probably the easiest way to say the liar is if they change personalities. So if I'm always like this, that's my personality, you got it. And then all of a sudden I'm high strung and emotional. It doesn't mean I'm lying. There could be some reason. A lot of times it's all these stupid idiots calling me or somebody cheating me or some communist in the pool upsetting me. Doesn't mean I'm lying. It just means emotionally I'm upset. Now, the more I'm being stoic, the more I'm even keel and not worried by that. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So basically, just be careful with it. Don't be real naive. So liars, I don't even know if you can, really tell if anybody's lying. I think you just have to prove it. I think it's just if A happens and B happens, C happens. And if C doesn't happen, it's a lie, then, they're lying. Otherwise, to really look for a liar, I don't know. In poker, like I said, if the guy bets a lot on the flop and on the turn and on the river, he's bluffing. And if he checks and then bets on the river, he's got a big hand. And I think it's the only thing you can go by. The Russian girl, like I said, she bet a lot on the flop. She bet a lot on the turn. I knew she was bluffing. When she checked the flop in the turn, I knew she had a big hand. And I think that's all and then they won't know what the fuck's going on. Gold is through the roof, finally. We're very happy that it looks like COMEX has blown up on gold and gone to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's down 7,000 today. Couldn't be happier. Just be logical. People want Bitcoin to be real, but it isn't acceptable and it's not physical. You can't hold it. And I think that's the problem with it. So I know you're greedy and you want to turn, what are you going to do now? Turn 65,000 into what? 1 million? You're that gullible? go to the roulette wheel and play red and watch red hit 10 times in a row, and then tell yourself it's going to hit another 1,000 times in a row, and see how you believe that crap, and then watch black come up. Then you'll realize what you need to do with Bitcoin is take your profits. It's just like any other gamble. It's just like any other stock or football or poker. You take your profits, back in later, understand why it went up. Do you understand why Bitcoin goes up and then why it's down today? Do you understand that? You can't. Gold, we know it's COMEX. So if we believe COMEX is finally gone, we'll just see it go up and up. Nobody's going to sell it. It's too cheap because it's at paper prices. And we're trying to get to a physical price. Once we get that, then it'll go up and down. But that's 30, 40,000 an ounce before that happens. So all I can say is go buy the gold and silver. It's going to go up because the dollar's going out and because it's an asset and all the dollars in the world are going out and gold's the only protection. So it's not insurance, though. It's the competition to the dollar is gold, to everybody's dollar. So as the dollar bows out, gold's what's left, and then people will realize it's got the value. But it's not insurance; it's money. All right, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to see what Alyssa wants, and hopefully get together with her and have a nice night. www.teaserking.com. Questions or comments, please leave them for tomorrow. You can go to my email on Teaserking and email me. It's fine. All right, everybody. Have a great night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully a little bit earlier, 1:30-ish. I'd like to. Anyway, we'll see. All right. Take care. Buy your gold and silver. It's going, going, going.